What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a breakdown of all of the new Eververse Bright Dust items in Season of the Haunted. Safe to say there are loads of cool ornaments and exotic cosmetics, so in the video we'll list the weeks that the various items will be sold for Bright Dust, with a quick mention of the weeks that they'll also be sold for Silver, so that you guys can make an easier choice about whether you purchase them for Silver, or hold on and wait till they're available for Bright Dust. I'm trying to improve the format of this one, so I hope you guys find the video useful. And also a big shout out to todayiндestiny.com and light.gg, who have awesome databases and schedules. So be sure to check them out linked below. And starting out, we're going to jump ahead to week 3 of the season, because it's one of the first weeks where brand new items are really sold for Bright Dust. And so for the Eververse inventory on June the 7th, in terms of new items for the season, we'll see the Tide Smoke Shader. That will be sold for 300 Bright Dust as always. We'll also see a new rare emote called Happy Stars, and then a Season of the Haunted exotic sparrow called the War-Torn Peregrine. That will cost 2,500 Bright Dust, and week 3 is the only week where it'll be sold for Bright Dust. And bear in mind it will also be sold for Silver on weeks 1, 4, 5, 6, and 8. Also in week 3, we'll see the Broken Bird to be Healed legendary ornament for Ostringer return. That will cost 700 Bright Dust. And we'll see the first seasonal armor pieces in the Eververse store feature for Bright Dust, which will be the Gauntlets. Those will cost 1,200 Bright Dust each, and bear in mind they're also being sold for Silver on weeks 1 and 2. So obviously if you wait until week 3, there'll be the option to purchase them for Bright Dust instead. Next, let's talk about items that'll be sold in week 4, which begins on the 14th of June. And for new Season 17 items, we'll see the Burning Mall Ghost Projection. That will cost 1,500 Bright Dust. Also relevant is the Beggar to be Fed weapon ornament for the Epicurean. So that's a legendary weapon ornament, once again for 700 Bright Dust. And we'll see the exotic ship, the Shining Cabriolet, which will be available for 2,000 Bright Dust. And week 4 is the only week where it will be sold for this currency, otherwise it will be available for Silver on weeks 6, 7, and 8. Then also in week 4 for Bright Dust, we'll see the boots from the new Season Eververse set for all 3 classes, and they will cost 1,200 Bright Dust, but otherwise are featured in weeks 1 and 2 for Silver. The week 5 Eververse inventory, beginning on the 21st of June, will include the new exotic ghost shell, the Hydrofoil shell. This will cost 2,850 Bright Dust. Week 5 is the only week where it'll be sold for Bright Dust, and bear in mind that it's also available for Silver on week 2. So obviously there is the choice to hold on and purchase it for Bright Dust instead. In the same week, we'll see a new legendary emote called Conductor, which will cost 700 Bright Dust, as well as a new shader for Season 17 called Argent Teratorn, which as always will cost 300 Bright Dust. Then another one of the exotics for the week will be the Seafoam Glide exotic sparrow. That will only be featured for Bright Dust once in week 5, and it will be 2,500 Bright Dust, but will have already been sold for Silver on week 3. But otherwise in the same week, we will see the class item from the seasonal Eververse set for 1,200 Bright Dust. Up next, and we're at week 6, the 28th of June. And for Bright Dust, we'll be able to get the exotic Egregore shell. The only time it will be featured for Bright Dust is in week 6, and it will cost 2,850. Plus this will come up for Silver in weeks 5, 6, and 7. We'll also see a new legendary emote, the Live Disco Dance for 700 Bright Dust, as well as the Eris Morn Ghost Projection for 1,500 Bright Dust, and a new shader for the season, which is a Radiant Charoid, and as always that is 300 Bright Dust. Plus in week 6 we'll see a new exotic ghost shell, the Battle Worn shell, which will cost 2,850 Bright Dust, and week 6 is the only week where it'll be featured. Otherwise though, it can be purchased for Silver in weeks 1, 4, 5, 6, and 8. Additionally in week 6 we'll see the Unloved to be Cherished weapon ornament for Beloved. That will be 700 Bright Dust. And finally, a new exotic weapon ornament for Traveler's Chosen called Dream of the Sky, and it will be sold for Silver on week 4, but in week 6 it will cost 1,250 Bright Dust. In week 7, beginning the 5th of July, we'll see the Springtime Scales weapon ornament for Aegis Scepter. That one will have already previously been sold for Silver on week 3, but in week 7 it will cost 1,250 Bright Dust. In that same week, we'll see the Prized Ivory ornament for Ostringer. That will cost 700 Bright Dust, plus a bunch of other exotic items for the season. So initially we'll have the Cordyception, an exotic sparrow. That's going to cost 2,500 Bright Dust and will only be sold for that currency in week 7, but will also come up in weeks 5, 6, and 7 for Silver. We're then going to see some exotic armor ornaments, so Celestial Nighthawk will get a new ornament called the Cathartidae Filigree. That will cost 1500 Bright Dust on week 7, but otherwise will be available for silver on week 5. And the same can be said for the Pyretic Footfalls, a new ornament for Path of Burning Steps, as well as the Coiled Lasso, a gauntlet ornament for the Ophidian aspect. Then additionally, in week 7, we're going to see the Sunrise Saber ornament for Black Talon. That will cost 1250 Bright Dust. And you should note that it will also be sold for silver on week 6. But next, moving into week 8, which will be the 12th of July, for 2000 Bright Dust, we'll see the Swift Persistence exotic ship. And that's going to be sold on various weeks for silver before week 8. We'll get another 3 exotic armor ornaments that week as well. So the Fortunate Beast ornament for Lucky Pants, which will be 1500 Bright Dust. And bear in mind, that's going to be sold for silver on weeks 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And it'll be the same for the other featured exotic ornaments that week, so there'll be the Piezo Electric Stratagem ornament for the No Backup Plans, and the Replicate Exploit ornament for Necrotic Grips. Plus that week we'll get a new ornament for Arbalist, that's the Electromagnetic Execution, which will cost 1250 Bright Dust, but heads up that that will be sold for silver in the week before on week 7. Additionally, for week 8 for Bright Dust, we're going to see the helmet for the seasonal Eververse set for 1200 Bright Dust, as well as the defenseless To Be Armed ornament for Callous Minotaur, which as always will cost 700 Bright Dust. Then as we go into weeks 9, 10, 11, and 12, we'll see a lot of items associated with Solstice of Heroes, many of those currently aren't visible. But in terms of season-specific stuff, on week 11, we will see the Gilded Honors ornament for the Forerunner. That'll cost 1250 Bright Dust, but will also be featured for silver on weeks 9, 11, and 12. And then in week 12 for Bright Dust, we'll see the Splendid Vidua, which is a new ornament for Witherhoard. That will again cost 1250 Bright Dust, but will be featured for silver on weeks 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then for the very final week of the season, we'll see quite a few different items, so this will be week 13, beginning on the 16th of August, and we'll see the Golden Days ornament for the No Time to Explain featured for 1250 Bright Dust. That one will have been sold for silver on week 8. Then the convertible exotic Ghost Shell will be sold for 2850 Bright Dust, and that will have been sold on weeks 6, 7, 8, and 9 for silver. Plus, we'll see the Open Sky Tora exotic Sparrow. That'll be 1250 Bright Dust, but will have been sold on weeks 6, 7, 8, and 13 for silver. Then finally, the Wings of the Firebird exotic ship, which is one that players are definitely excited to pick up. That will cost 2000 Bright Dust in the final week of the season, but it will have been available for silver in weeks 2, 6, and 9. Additionally, in that final week though, we will see the chest piece from the seasonal Eververse armor set, and again, that will cost 1200 Bright Dust. And so guys, there we go. That is the breakdown of the full Eververse inventory in terms of new items that are available for Bright Dust this season. Let us know down in the comment section any items that you're excited to pick up. And as always, I hope the video today has been useful. If it has, a rating below really does help us out on the channel. Plus, if you want to be kept up to date with everything related to Destiny 2, be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted. But otherwise for now, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys very soon.